What is up, guys? John and Holzer back for another Roundtable Sports Radio episode. And Holzer, what are we getting in today?
Well, today we're going to be talking about our recaps for week 7. We're going to talk a few things about, off the top of my head, I know about the Cowboys.
Oh,
We're going to talk about that accidental touchdown for Todd Gurley. We're going to talk about DK Metcalf and his insane speed catching Buda Baker.
DK.
And, John, let's get into it.
All right. So, what game do you want to talk about
I
first?
think we should go on
Um,
Falcons, honestly.
so just so you know, guys, we're not going to be recapping the Giants and the Eagles game from last Thursday since we kind of covered it in last week's episode.
Yep.
So like Holzer said, we're going to begin with the Lions and the Falcons. So, you want to begin?
Yeah, I'll start. Honestly, what can you say about Matt Stafford at this point? He's got to be one of the most clutchest quarterbacks in our era. He stepped up in the pocket to extend time to get to the ball to T.J. Hawkinson in the end zone for a touchdown. But honestly, this all wouldn't have been happening probably if Todd Gurley didn't accidentally score a touchdown. John, I don't know if you saw this, but did you see the picture of all the Lions defenders like holding it up, like asking for a touchdown, and then Todd Gurley was just on the ground,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Uh, you want to know what that reminded me of? When the Giants and the Patriots played in Super Bowl 46, and Matt Bradshaw, with about a minute left to go in the game, he kind of did the same thing. He hesitated before he went into the end zone because he knew that the Giants still needed to chew up clock. So, I mean, big mistake by Gurley, but I mean, plain and simple, the Falcons defense choked right there. That
Yeah, it's
wasn't.
hard.
You can't put that all on Gurley, man.
Hard. Very hard.
But I mean, he took a misstep. He should have fell down like 5 yards in front of the end zone, maybe even a yard.
Honestly, he
But
just had to get the first down and the game was over.
he had momentum. He
It
couldn't
was
really
hard. It
stop.
was a hard play. It's not
Right.
all on Todd Gurley because honestly, the defense had a chance with only a minute left. They had to get to stop. I guess that's asking too much when you're playing against Matt Stafford in that offense. It's pretty
But Matt Stafford, man, he's an undervalued quarterback, no doubt, no doubt.
very, very clutch.
Talent has been wasted on the Lions all these years, and I mean, if the Lions can't put something together this year, I think Matt Patricia's job is in jeopardy.
I
Definitely.
agree. So last week I predicted that Marvin Jones would have around 6 catches. I think I was pretty accurate. Or I said he had around 80 yards. He had 80 yards. He didn't get that touchdown I thought he was gonna get,
Right.
but and you two had him. You had him as well.
Kenny Golladay did good though.
Kenny Galladay did do good.
He had a
And
good game.
Swift didn't do bad either.
No,
He
he
didn't
had a
run the
touch.
ball. He didn't run the ball as good as normal, but he didn't run one in.
It wasn't a bad check down option for Stafford in the backfield this
Nope.
week. So, and I
Hawkinson
mean,
was kind of quiet too until the last drive.
yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, Swift got me. I mean, he got me a few points
Yep.
on in fantasy. I think he underperformed, but I mean, you can't expect too much out of a rookie. I mean, he had a touchdown. He performed for
Plus,
the Lions.
if you
So,
think too, John, they have 3 running backs that would be good enough to start on some teams.
mm-hmm.
Adrian Peterson, maybe not a starter, but
A
he's good
solid
enough
back.
to get some carries.
Right.
All right, that was a good topic. But now I kind of want to move on to the Browns Bengals game.
Browns Bengals game.
Very
Um,
good game.
I mean, last week I mean I had the Browns as a lock, and I
Mhm.
mean I was right with the win, but the Bengals they played surprisingly really well.
Mhm.
Joe Burrow had a very good game.
He
406
did.
passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
He did
Insane,
have a good game.
insane. Tyler Boyd too.
I know Tyler Boyd had a great week. I know that they almost got that game-winning touchdown too at the end.
Yeah, they did.
He
And
tipped it. I don't remember who it was. I think it was T Higgins hit it up behind him,
right.
and AJ Green and Tyler Boyd were in the area, and they almost could have brought it in.
All three Bengals receivers had a pretty solid week. AJ Green,
Yeah,
T Higgins. Like I said, T Higgins was a gimme in fantasy that you guys should start him.
yeah, that was a
Uh, he
good
didn't do
preview.
bad, but he didn't get a touchdown, which is a little disappointing. But I mean, 71 receiving yards, 5
No,
receptions,
T
eight.
Higgins did get a touchdown.
Oh, he did have a touchdown.
He
I'm
did,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm thinking of AJ Green. AJ Green didn't have a touchdown, but 82 receiving yards out of AJ Green, solid fantasy performance. But again, Tyler Boyd had an amazing week,
Tyler Boyd did go off.
right?
If you get
It,
11 catches on 13 targets, that's pretty good. That brings you up there with some of the greats that have played this game.
Someone else who didn't do that bad, Baker Mayfield, 5 tutties. There,
I
that's
mean,
not.
they are playing one of the weaker defenses though,
That is true. That is true. And he did throw a
and
pick, and which
he,
ended up costing Odell a season.
if you think about it, they shouldn't have been in that situation. The Bengals should have stopped the Browns. That was a Baker kind of threw a dime to the back of the end zone with a minute left. That was a
Yeah.
good around a minute left. It was a good play.
Didn't Jarvis Landry throw a? I thought he had.
Hey, Jefferson Landry had a pass for like 20 yards or something.
Yeah.
So
19
that,
years.
yeah, that game was very fun. I watched a game with Bailey, Brady, and Bryce this weekend, and we were switching to that game at the end, and it was a battle. It was a battle.
It was. I mean, that game could have very well went to overtime. The Bengals had a chance,
They did have a chance.
but that team, the Bengals, I think,
Decent.
if they model their system after like the 49ers did with Kyle Shanahan or Brian Flores in Miami, they can be a contender in a couple of years, no doubt.
If they can
Joe
bring in
Burrow,
a solid head coach,
right,
like one of the better head coaches, like offensively,
right.
then I think Joe Burrow could be pretty special.
He's a franchise quarterback, no doubt. I mean, I think he's gonna be a special guy in the future.
I do too. I don't know if he is. I don't think he's going to be a generational talent, but I think that he'll. I think that he's going to have a good career. He might knock on a door of a Super Bowl one year or be close to winning an MVP. I don't know. It's going to be pretty hard for him because he's for the majority of his career, barring injuries, he's going to be going against Mahomes,
Right.
Deshaun Watson, like all these other young guys that are just
Who would you
destined.
argue is having the better season as a rookie quarterback, Herbert or Burrow?
It's hard,
That
very
is hard.
hard, because Herbert has played some. He didn't get to his whole season at the beginning.
Right.
Tyrod started,
Right.
but Herbert seems to be balling right now, and so does
Uh,
Joe Burrow.
yeah, they're
So
both
I don't really know who's going to be better. I guess we'll really see at the end of the year, and then I'll really make my predictions. Or no, well, I guess it's going to be final. But right now, I'm going to say that Joe Burrow is going to have a better season.
okay. I'm gonna go with Herbert. I think I love what I see out of Burrow, but Herbert, I mean, I don't know. I just think that they have an easier schedule compared to the Bengals, the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers aren't gonna make the playoffs or anything, obviously, but for the limited amount of time that Burrow or Herbert has played compared to Burrow, he's put up better numbers.
Yep, he
You could even
has.
argue that Burrow has more weapons around him too. I mean, granted that I mean
Yeah, maybe.
Herbert
Honestly,
has Henry, he has Keenan Allen. I
I
mean,
think Keenan Allen's the best receiver out of all the teams, but I think that the Bengals' offensive like weapons are better than overall than what the Chargers have.
right, right.
If you think back to last week, I said start Herbert, and I said he was going to have around 20 yards on the ground. He had 60 and had a touchdown on the ground. So
He had 4 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. I'm pretty
I
sure.
think
Just
he had 3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
It's still pretty insane, man.
Good.
So you want to get into the Panthers Saints next?
I do. I do.
All right, man. So Teddy Bridgewater, he didn't have a bad game.
He did
250,
not, honestly. He
two
played,
touchdowns.
in my opinion, John, he played good enough to win the football game.
It's a shame that the Panthers didn't they miss that field goal at the end of the game.
Did they?
I can't remember. I mean I didn't watch the game, but who's their kicker? Sly.
Yep. Well, I
I,
mean, he missed a 65-yarder, so
right. I mean,
that's not a give me field goal
yeah,
by any means. That would have been like the NFL record, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's 63 right now.
really.
NFL record, yep.
And Kamara, I mean, Kamara didn't have a terrible game either. Neither did Breeze.
I said sit Breeze because I thought Kamara was actually going to be better on the ground than he was.
Right.
He actually didn't have that great of a game on the ground.
You want to know who did disappoint though?
Ooh,
Davis on the ground.
He
7
did.
attempts, 12 yards.
He really cost me my fantasy week.
Yeah, yeah.
He really did. I thought he was gonna have a huge week this week, but soon McCaffrey's gonna be back, and that whole offense is just gonna be back to dynamic plays. Before McCaffrey went down, he had 4 touchdowns in 2 weeks. He would have been
Really?
on if he kept that pace. He would have been on pace for 32 touchdowns.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean,
Insane.
too bad that McCaffrey got hurt though.
I know it is a shame because he's one of our brighter stars in the NFL right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, no doubt.
Same with
I mean,
like Saquon Barkley.
the difference with McCaffrey is that I don't think he'll be. I mean, McCaffrey will still be a playmaker when he comes back.
Oh,
He's
yep.
still going to be putting up at least a touchdown or two a game. The
Mm-hmm.
dude's an animal, and he's so dynamic. The problem with Saquon is that last year after his high ankle sprain injury, he didn't look. I mean, Saquon he was still explosive, but
Yeah.
he wasn't as dynamic of a player after that injury. And as a Giants fan, I'm fearful that he won't look the same after this ACL tear. But only time will tell. I think that Saquon will still be a better back in the league, but I just don't think that he's gonna be what we thought he was.
I think well, the thing is with torn ACLs now, it's easier to come back from because of modern medicine compared to what it used to be. People are coming back even stronger with their tears than they were before. You don't want to be injured, but if you are right now, it's a good time to do it because of our technology.
Like you look at Adrian Peterson, he tore his ACL, and then the next season, I think, and well, I can't remember what year it was, but the dude will rush for near to 2,000 yards. I
Hmm.
mean, and yeah, look at. I mean, I don't even know how old the guy is right now. He's in his mid 30s,
Gotta
but
be in his 30s.
he's still
Easily.
he's still a good running back, like you said. He's
He's
a solid running back number two,
mm-hmm. I'm
and a
gonna look.
team using
Wait, how old is he? He got drafted in 2007.
right.
I don't know. I don't know his age off the top of my head, but that's when he got drafted. So if you want to go on to this next one, this was a shit show. Jets Bills,
Oh, I
18-10. What do you think about the Jets and Bills?
well, the Jets exceeded my expectations. I think I said that it was going to be like a 28-3 blowout by the Bills.
That's why I was
Um,
like, I don't know.
that defense is still disappointing me. I mean, they did have I mean, Donald threw 2 picks. He didn't do much in the air. I think he had got like 120 passing yards or something, which is, I mean, Sam Darnold is a good I mean, I don't want to say he's a good quarterback. He has potential,
I think
and
he's a good quarterback. I just think he's playing on one of the worst offensive schemes
yeah,
and one of the
and
worst offensive teams in general.
Gates finally stopped calling the
Yep.
plays and gave it over to the OC.
Didn't look like it.
I know. I mean, in the first half, the Jets, I mean, they're moving the ball on the
They
ground.
were. They
They
actually
were.
gashed him on the ground a few
They did.
times.
Frank Gore didn't have a bad game,
I
11
think he
rushing.
averaged like 5.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's good.
Uh,
He's old too.
but at the beginning of the game, the Bills' offense looked kind of dormant. You know what I mean? They weren't really there. You know, Josh Allen didn't seem like the quarterback that we've been talking about for the past few weeks. But
The MVP.
yeah, right. Granted, in the second half, he threw for 307 yards, but
I
no
think.
touchdowns this week.
Sorry to cut you off. I think those are kind of empty stats this week
Right.
because they were not getting it done in the red zone.
I mean, you can throw 400 yards in the air in a game, but you got to score. You
Got
got
to
to score,
convert in the red zone. Got to.
especially versus the Jets team that's 0-7. I mean, the Bills. I mean, everyone thought they were legitimate at the beginning of the year. You saw how that offense was playing. You saw how
Hmm.
Diggs was playing. You saw how Allen was playing. But I mean, 18 points versus the Jets. Come
I
on,
think. I think they are a fake contender. I think
Bills.
they'll cakewalk past their division
Yeah,
because unless Cam starts turning up, then maybe the Patriots can get there.
I
But
think the Dolphins can give them a run for their money. The
with
Patriots,
Fitzpatrick, I think they would have been able to.
right?
But I
But
don't think. I don't know if Tua is going to be there yet.
who knows? Maybe Tua is
Maybe he has like a Herbert like season, like starts off
right,
like Herbert. But
right.
but
I
I don't
mean,
know.
time will only tell. But a bright spot out of this game, Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley had a great game, 112 receiving yards.
He did. I think I said something about starting Cole Beasley or something.
You did, yeah. I remember last week you did.
Hmm.
Um, Stephon Diggs, kind of an underwhelming game for him in my opinion. 48 yards.
Did get hurt, so I think that might have affected him.
Right, right. Um, I mean, I like for fantasy managers, I don't really think he performed up to
No,
expectation,
he didn't. He had the
but
targets.
he did. Yeah,
He had the
definitely.
targets.
I mean, he's Allen's number one receiver. What do you expect?
Hey,
But
this week it looked like Cole Beasley was his number one.
at the end of the game, I mean, the Jets had a chance. They had a
They did.
chance, and then Darnold threw that pick to Jerry Hughes, I believe it was, and the game was over.
If you um if you think about this, if you take away obviously you can't do this, but if you take away Allen's rushing yards, the Bills had about 80 yards on the ground. 70, 80 yards. That's
So,
not great. They're not running the football well
mm-mm.
without like subtracting Allen. So they really need to get that down. Like Singletary, Moss, like what are they gonna do? Because neither one of them or Zach Moss came into the game and he was running big. Singletary wasn't running the greatest this week. Yeah, he was at 3.5 a carry, but I mean Singletary was at like or Moss was at like 6.7 or 8 or 7 yards a carry,
Mm,
and he was just gashing them. I think
right.
Zach Moss is gonna make his case for being the starting running back.
And it's disappointing because I want Devin Singletary to pan out. I want him to be that premier back in that backfield for the Bills. But like you said, Zach Moss is proving that, and so far this season, he's proving that he's the better back. Um, I mean, Devin Singletary, he's a dynamic playmaker in the backfield, and I'm not sure if it's because he's just I don't know if it's COVID or what. The season is just distracting him. He's not playing up to his potential,
Yeah, that
but
could be.
maybe the Bills aren't utilizing him like they should. I mean, I'm not a Bills fan. I don't really watch Bills games, although I did watch the game this weekend. But Devin Singletary, you got to have more out of him. You know, if you want
I
this offense
agree.
to succeed.
All right,
And
Don. Well, I
yeah,
hate to cut you off, but I kind of want to go to the worst
yeah,
game of the week.
talking about them boys,
I'm talking about the Cowboys
them boys.
and the football team.
It's got to be sucky to be a Cowboys fan right now, no
I'm gonna
doubt.
start this right now. Antonio Gibson was banging his head on the goalpost all game long.
Best game of his career so far.
I
I
think
mean,
he
he,
had like 130 yards and a touchdown. He had a 14-yard touchdown where he just walked in the end zone basically. Nobody even came close to touching him.
I
What?
have a theory.
Okay, yeah, you
I think
go.
I think the Cowboys are tanking.
You think they're gonna get Trevor and just not sign Dak?
I don't think they're gonna get. I mean, Jerry hates Dak for whatever reason. You saw the guy. You saw how he's playing in the first few weeks before that week
Gruesome
5 game against
injury.
the Giants. I mean, he's been tearing it up.
He was
And
last week.
that goes down, and this offense is just disappearing. This offense was on pace to be amazing. Like, not historically great, but amazing. And Ezekiel Elliott, 2 fumbles against, I mean, the Redskins have a good defense, but come on. What do you mean? I mean, I thought you were a premier back in the league. 12
Well,
rushes for 45
Zeke
yards.
had 2 fumbles last week, not this week,
Oh, it was last week. My bad. My
but
bad.
he had 12 rushes for 45 yards. That's
That's
terrible.
that's
That's
terrible.
awful.
And then of course Andy Dalton goes down.
Well, also, if you think, oh, hold on, I'm gonna end it out in a second. Just a preference on Zeke. His offensive line is one of the worst he's had in his career, and they're really, really banged up. So I'm not giving him passes on the fumbles last week, but I'm just saying that could be a reason.
Right.
But for Andy Dalton's sake, how does he get hit like that and nobody steps up to fight?
I know, right? His
I
offense.
will.
I mean, his offensive line went and checked up on him, but I mean, if that was you or me, that's our quarterback.
So I'm
That's our
saying you got to
quarterback.
get in there, get ejected if you have to, but you got to make a statement. Can't
I
just
know.
do that. And it just looks like the Cowboys aren't showing any effort.
They don't have any chemistry. It doesn't seem like, you know.
People
I
are
mean,
quick to blame coaches, but to me, it just looks like there's zero effort.
exactly. I agree
But
with you.
I'm not going to say the coaches aren't the problem, but that's just from what I've seen this season. And they're going to have a rough go next week against, I think they're playing the Eagles.
Yes, yeah, they are. They are playing the
It's gonna
Eagles
be a
this week.
rough game for them.
And CD Lamb, yeah,
He
CD
dropped the
Lamb,
touchdown.
yeah. And I was right about Michael Gallup in fantasy. Shouldn't have started him. Dude didn't even get a. I don't even know if he got a catch.
Um,
Um, I mean,
yeah, he didn't have a catch.
yeah, it's just, I mean, Andy Dalton went down, and then Danucci came in, and he's like a sixth round rookie or something like that.
You don't
Um,
expect much from him.
right, but this offense, I mean, you've seen how bad the defense has been playing. I mean, if you're gonna have success as the Cowboys, you gotta perform on offense, and we just didn't see that from them this week. I mean, they were getting pressured by that Washington line all game.
Yep.
The secondary looked good, and even Landon Collins got injured. It's not like Landon Collins is a huge playmaker, but he's important to that defense, and he got hurt in the game, and they still held the Cowboys to 3 points.
Think of
I
this,
mean,
John. Think of this. The football team was 9 for 15 on third down.
that's pretty. That's not bad.
You
That's
know what the Cowboys were?
what
3 for 12. That's
really.
awful.
That is very bad.
They had 142 yards all game. The
That's
Cowboys
terrible.
only had 142 yards. If you have
That's
Zeke and you have all those weapons at wide receiver, I don't care who your quarterback is, you have to get more than 140 yards.
You think the Cowboys are finishing last in the NFC least?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right now. They're gonna win one game the rest of the season.
I think Washington has a chance to win the division. I honestly do. I think they have a legitimate chance. I mean, they Antonio Gibson, like you said, he was banging his head against the goalpost all game. He had a great game.
He had a
Terry McLaurin,
touchdown, 14
that
yards. Yeah.
yeah, Terry McLaurin, that 52 yard receiving touchdown, and Terry McLaurin's been having a quiet season, but a great
hmm
season. He's top 10 in receiving yards. He's a good receiver. Only in his second year too, and Kyle Allen's not playing that bad. He's not. I
Kyle
mean,
Allen is they made him look a little bit better than he is. He only had 190 passing yards, but they had 200 yards rushing, over 200
yeah,
yards rushing.
that ground game was crazy.
They grounded and pounded him all day long, and they just took control of the clock.
Right.
But for the Cowboys, listen, I think they're only going to win possibly one more game all season, and it's at Cincinnati. I think that's the only game that's winnable for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They have Eagles, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, football team, Ravens, Bengals, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Giants week 17.
hmm
I think they have one more easy game. I don't even say it's easy. Honestly, the Bengals could come in and just slap them
Yeah.
around.
I don't think they're gonna win against Cincinnati. I
That's my
think.
only. That's their only chance. I don't
I
think they'll. I think the Giants are gonna go in and slap them around.
You never know, man. I do think it's going to be hard for Dallas to come out with another win this season.
It's gonna
This
be hard.
team just plagued with injuries,
I
and
don't. I don't. I think that the Jets are probably gonna be worse than them, so they're probably not gonna get Trevor.
right,
I don't even know if the Jets are gonna get Trevor though.
it's an unpredictable season. The season has been crazy so far.
hmm
I've never seen anything like it in my 18 years. And I mean, honestly, all I can say is that I am elated that the Cowboys are 2-5. They
Aren't
look
you two and
terrible.
five too?
The Giants are 1-6, but at
Oh,
least we're looking better than the Cowboys. You can't deny
honestly,
that.
I say that they are better than the Cowboys
And I mean, prayers out to Andy Dalton. It looks like he
and
got a
Dak.
pretty and Dak. Looks like Dalton got a pretty nasty concussion. I
Mm.
hope Dak comes back, and if Jerry is stupid enough not to re-sign him, then I hope he gets big money elsewhere because Dak is a good quarterback. And um, I mean, who knows? Maybe Dak's career will pan out. And not like I'm not saying that he's had a bad career, but
Oh, he's had a
uh,
good career.
yeah. I mean,
Not a
say like
playoff career. He's not had a great playoff career,
a great playoff career,
but
but
he's
say
had a
like
great regular season career.
say the 49ers move on from him or from Jimmy G, maybe Dak goes over to San Francisco.
I wouldn't take that job if I was a quarterback. I don't think they have enough weapons.
No, who knows?
There's many options. Honestly, I'm trying to think about teams that would probably take him. Broncos, maybe. Jerry Judy's young. They might move on
Oh
from Drew
yeah,
Lock.
yeah.
I don't know.
Uh,
Yeah, well, debatable.
still too early
The
to tell.
Jags maybe. I don't know.
Thinking about the Jags, yeah, they don't got bad weapons. They have
Uh, wait,
Laniska.
hold
They
on.
have
I
DJ
just
Sharp.
I just thought of a really good one. The Bears. Think about
The
that defense with that offensive weapons they have. If they can somehow get a running back that can
if they
actually run the football,
if
then
they pay Allen Robinson and keep him there,
that would
and
be a
David
good team.
Montgomery isn't bad. Jimmy Graham isn't that bad. So
Dangerous team.
but I mean, Dak does have more weapons than Dallas, but I just don't think he's
Greatest
being
weapon is a great defense. Khalil Mack is gonna get home.
defenses win
That
champion.
defense is pretty
Look,
disgusting.
Steelers, man.
All right, John. I'd like to switch gears here to the Packers Texans. What do you think about Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers being on the same page all game long?
The chemistry is just through the roof over there in Green Bay with those two guys.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, Devontae Adams had like borderline to 200 receiving yards or something. Let me
He
just
had
see.
196.
196. That's and two tutties, dude.
Yep,
13
196.
receptions. Like Devontae Adams is legit. I think the Packers are legit. I think
Hmm.
I mean I think the Packers are a Super Bowl contender. I mean, they
I
did face
agree.
the Texans, and the Texans are pretty bad. Um,
Yeah, but they faced
but
him without Aaron Jones too. And like I
exactly.
said, Houston's one of the worst rushing defenses, and I think it's Jamal Williams is their backup.
Jamal Williams had a good
He
game. He did
he
have a
he
good
gashed them for a few good runs.
and I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, 283 yards. He's consistent week in and week out. I think I don't think he's gonna win the MVP, but he's definitely a candidate.
He's knocking
Um,
on the door.
I think the NFC North. I think the Packers will win the division, even though the Bears are knocking on the door too. I
It's hard with
just
that
don't.
quarterback situation though in the Bears for the Bears.
I mean, I don't think that the Bears they have a great defense. You know, I mean, you saw last night against Los Angeles, they did kind of. I mean, the Bears defense were putting up a fight the whole game, but
Yep.
the Bears offense I mean, they couldn't stay on the field, and
We'll talk about that game later because
right.
I'm gonna go off on Nick Foles. I think.
But Packers, NFC favorite for me, or not NFC favorite, NFC North favorite for me. I
Hmm.
think they have a chance to go to the NFC Championship. Who knows, even the Super Bowl. But I just feel bad for Deshaun Watson. That's all I can
I do
say.
too. He had a sneaky good game. He had over 300 passing.
Yeah, he's been playing better without O'Brien there
They
this
need to
year.
get. I mean, it's hard to give David Johnson the ball when the other team, in this case the Packers, are up by so much so early.
Right.
But you gave away D Hop to get David Johnson. At least get your money's worth. You can't
Yeah.
only give him 14 carries in a game and expect to win the game. When you have that bad of a defense, they gotta run the ball, get time off the clock, and let Deshaun Watson make plays.
Like you said, speaking of Deshaun Watson being quiet, how about those Texans receivers? Randall Cobb, 8 receptions for
Yeah,
95 yards. I mean,
he had a sneaky game.
yeah. And Brandon Cooks, he's not a terrible receiver either. But like you said, this team just can't get it done without D Hop. Still in
And the
my mind.
defense.
And the defense, yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I can't really name anybody else on that defense besides I mean Reed at safety and Watt. So
I
uh,
was gonna say you're gonna forget about Juju what?
yeah, but
All right.
I I just don't have anything to say about the Texans right now.
On to another very great game that we had this week. Buccaneers, Raiders. What do you feel
Yeah.
about this game?
Um I think that Brady and the Buccaneers showed me that I mean, I've been on the fence about the Bucks. I don't think that they should have lost against I mean, they lost against the Bears,
Hmm.
and the Bears won. Their defense won that game. They lost against the Saints too, and the Saints have been. I mean, they've been okay, but I expected more to be honest.
I mean,
But
they've been playing without Michael Thomas.
right,
He needs to stop
right.
punching his teammates
He needs the
and get healthy.
needs to be more disciplined.
Hmm.
Um, but like I was saying, Brady and the Bucks showed me that they're a legitimate contender, and I think they can make it to the Super Bowl. That defense looks elite. You want to know who looks really good? Um, oh God, I'm forgetting his name.
Devin
Bush on
White.
the defense. Devin White. Jesus Christ. Thank you. Devin White. He's looking really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember
They
his.
blitz him all the time.
He had a couple sacks that game
Mm-hmm.
too. Um,
He had 3
and
sacks.
yeah,
Pretty sure.
and that Gronk Brady connection is back. Chris Godwin had a pretty good game. Scotty Miller had a great game. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, Ronald Jones was kind of underwhelming. Leonard Fournette didn't do that
I
bad
mean, they were
backfield.
on the rushing game was a little underwhelming, but they threw the football
Yeah,
around. They spread
oh,
it.
four
Miller had
touchdowns.
a touchdown. Godwin had a touchdown. Gronk had a touchdown. Who else had a touchdown? I don't even know who else. Tyler Johnson had a touchdown.
I think Brady had a rushing touchdown.
Brady had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, I think so.
That was his 4 touchdowns and his rushing touchdown, so he had 5. And that
Yeah,
really and honestly, Russ opened the door for Tom Brady to be another MVP candidate.
yeah. Brady solidified himself as a candidate, and I mean, I still think again, like I mentioned with Aaron Rodgers earlier, I still think that Russ is gonna win the MVP,
I do too,
but Brady's knocking on the
I
door
don't
too.
know though. He might have another 5 touchdown week next week against your Giants.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Tough.
It's gonna be interesting Monday night, no doubt. But
Yeah, interesting if you mean the Giants gonna go down 20-0 in the first half.
let's hope not.
That's gonna be my lock of the week.
But Josh Jacobs underperformed this week. I was sad about that. I like Josh Jacobs a lot.
I mean, though, give them credit. They battled back a little bit, but it's hard to run when you're down
Yeah.
10 points against
And
this team, especially in the fourth quarter. Derek Carr had one costly turnover, and it really swung the game wide open. It was close, then
mm,
it was not close.
I mean, you can argue that you got to get the rushing game to going. You got to get the rushing game going to open up the passing game, or you got to get the passing game to going to open up the rushing game.
Play
Uh,
action is pretty key for that team too,
right.
because they don't have the greatest receivers.
Derek Carr didn't do too bad, but I just that I feel like the Raiders are pretty dependent. I mean, not too dependent on that rushing offense, but I mean, Derek Carr can't do it all alone. Um,
I just think that sometimes we overrate games because they did run into one of the better teams in the Bucks, who's definitely a Super Bowl candidate
but
here. So I don't know what to say. They beat the Chiefs. They blew the brakes off the Chiefs defense last week, 2 weeks
mm,
ago now. So or 3 weeks ago, right? Because they had a bye.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago now because they had a bye. But overall, it was a pretty decent game up until about the fourth quarter, and then the Buccaneers went on a 21-point run, and they really blew the game up.
I mean, Tom, and he's showing that he can get it done without Belichick, man.
Yep,
42 years old, and he's still throwing dimes.
that one to
And
Scotty Miller in the back of the end zone.
I mean,
Couldn't have
even
placed it any better. Right in the
Brady's
basket.
Brady's mechanics, his throwing style, it all still looks pretty good in my opinion.
Hmm.
Don't sleep on Brady in the Bucks, man. Don't sleep on him.
All right, let's get into this next game. Chiefs, Broncos.
Uh,
Also, another game that cost me my fantasy week. Mahomes only had 1 touchdown.
mhm.
I was very upset about that. Even though
Holmes
they
had
put up 43 points, they had a special teams touchdown. They had a defensive touchdown,
uh,
and they really killed it on the running game. Elaire had a touchdown, and some other guy had a touchdown. I forget his name off the top of my head. Tyreek's the only one who had a receiving touchdown, and they
yeah.
kicked a lot of field goals. I think 3 field goals. So
Um, I don't know. Mahomes had an average game. It's not like Denver has that great of a defense, but you
I mean
expect Mahomes.
they're pretty strong on defense. I would
Yeah,
say
they're not bad, but
they're not a top 10 to 12 to 14 defense, but after that, I mean Denver's always been good. Like they got Bradley Chubb, he can get home.
But this is the Golden State Warriors or football. This offense. I mean,
Yeah,
you have so many weapons, and I mean, I don't know exactly how many offensive touchdowns they put up against them, but like you said, they had a defensive touchdown. They had to
special
settle
teams.
for field goals. They had a special teams touchdown. I mean, I'm just expecting more out of Mahomes, to be honest. Um, I mean, the running game wasn't that bad. Le'Veon Bell had his debut for the Chiefs,
He
6
didn't do
rushes for
terrible.
59 yards. Yeah, he had a
He had a
good
good run.
like 20-yard, 15-yard run, something like that.
He had like a 17-yarder, and during the game, I was like, "That's like his longest run since he left Pittsburgh." I think.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to see what the Chiefs can do with Le'Veon. I hope his career has like I hope his career is revived in Kansas City. Who knows? Maybe the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl again, and maybe Le'Veon gets that elusive ring that he's wanted for so many years.
I disagree. I
You
hope they
disagree
lose. Hey,
because you're a Steelers.
Le'Veon Bell. Okay, no, I actually like Le'Veon Bell. I wish they would have paid him a little bit,
Yeah,
but we're looking
James,
good. So
James Conner isn't bad.
not much to say on this Chiefs game. It was basically just a dominating performance by the Chiefs and not by the
Well,
Broncos.
yeah.
Let's move on to this. I messed this up so bad.
What are you talking about? You talking about the 49ers?
49ers,
Yeah.
Patriots.
Yeah.
Does Cam Newton even have an arm?
No, Cam looked terrible. He was so inaccurate this game. Oh my god.
I
I mean, if
think
I was Bill Belichick, I would have been livid.
I think he'll have a better game next week because I think COVID really affected him because he was having a great season before COVID.
Yeah, he was having a pretty solid season.
So I think that he'll be better next week. I hope because he really embarrassed me with this 33-6. I thought they were going to lock it in 24-23.
Yeah.
And I told you not to start Jerick McKinnon, and everyone on that team got injured, and they still weren't giving McKinnon carries.
Hmm.
And he was supposed to share a lot of the workload. He only had 3 carries.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Jeff Wilson got it done on the ground though.
and then he got hurt though. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
which sucks
We'll
because I
see.
was
That
gonna
whole team is filled with injuries.
I was gonna pick him up in fantasy, but I
Yeah.
mean, 49ers, they're not gonna come out with the NFC West title. The Patriots are not gonna come out with the AFC East title, I don't think. They just don't have weapons on offense, and there's even rumors of them shopping Stephon Gilmore. And if
The
you get rid of
Steelers.
Gilmore, I mean, that's a guaranteed. Like it looks like you're just trying to tank. I mean, that's in my opinion. It just you can't get rid of that guy.
Well, if he's not working out, it's not working out. That game was not good to watch. So I'm not even going to go into more depth. It was not good.
Right.
Cam did not look good. I saw him underthrow a curl by about 8 yards.
Yeah, I saw that play. 3 picks. He had 3 picks. I mean, the 49ers have a good defense, but you can't be throwing 3 picks in the National Football League. Come on.
He bend it.
And Jimmy Garoppolo, he didn't have a bad game.
I mean, they just
Uh
ran the ball.
yeah, I mean, he threw 2 picks. I mean, you can't be throwing picks, but I mean, Jimmy G didn't have a terrible game in
listen,
my opinion.
listen to the stat, John. Listen to this. The Patriots were 1 for 6 on third down. They only got to 6 third downs. 6.
Yeah.
I want to see how many punts they had. I gotta go find this punt. They punted only 2 times? Huh? How did they only get 6 third downs and punt 2 times? Oh, maybe it was their
Turnover.
4 turnovers that they
Yeah.
had.
Mhm. Yeah.
Not a great game.
Let us know, guys, what you think. You think Cam and the Patriots are gonna work out? You think Cam's gonna stick with them after this season? Let us know what you guys think in the comments.
I think does the Patriots want to stick with Cam? Because I think Cam's gonna want to stick with New England
Yeah, you think so?
if they can get him a weapon.
Yeah. Um, like the Giants, if they shop Ingram, they could ship him over to the Patriots, and that'd be good for
Honestly,
Cam.
John, I was thinking about this too. It's James Washington. If they wanted to trade with Pittsburgh, James Washington, maybe like a first or a second for Gilmore, that would help out both teams a lot. I hate to see Washington go, but I would hate to let Gilmore pass by if this was actually a thing that could happen. Because
Yeah,
Gilmore would make our secondary elite. Joe Hayden is looking pretty good this season.
yeah. But he's
Minka's
gonna.
looking good, but I don't know. Our
I mean,
honestly, our second and third corners they aren't terrible, but they're not Stephon Gilmore.
that defense looks good enough as it is. But if you put Stephon Gilmore on that team, I mean, that defense is just going up to another level. I mean, that secondary is gonna be nasty.
All right, John. Let's get into my favorite topic of the week:
Steelers,
Steelers
Titans,
Titans.
yeah.
Did you watch the game? How do you feel about that game?
I didn't watch the game, but I mean, I saw the Steelers blowing out the Titans up until the second half, and honestly, I want the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. The
Me
Steelers are
too.
my favorite for the Super Bowl. I know that's kind of like expected, as they're 6-0. They're the only undefeated team left in the
I still
NFL
think the
right now.
Chiefs are the favorite, even with how good the Steelers are playing.
I just, I mean, Big Ben. I mean, the Titans have a good defense. They don't have a bad defense. Big Ben threw 3 picks, which I was disappointed about. But I mean, the whole team made up for that. I mean, that's just what you call good chemistry. I mean,
Mhm.
you don't get that done. I mean, the Steelers. I can't remember. It was like I can't remember what the score was at the half, but I mean they held the Titans. Titans missed that field goal at the end of the game. But the Steelers didn't win because of that missed field goal. The Steelers won because they are a goddamn good football team. And I'm sorry for my language, but that defense is impressing me beyond belief. I
Even
still
without
think,
Bush.
yeah, yeah, without Bush too. James Conner, he's still not a bad running back,
I
despite
mean,
what.
he went 20 for 82, so
Yeah, that's not bad, man.
they
That's not
controlled
bad.
the clock.
And Big Ben, I mean, even though Big Ben had 3 picks, he still had 2 touchdown passes. He's throwing 268 in the year. Um, I mean, his completion percentage isn't the best, but I mean, Big Ben's still a consistent and good quarterback.
Hmm.
And they faced a tough team in the Titans. And
Well,
I have high hopes for the Steelers this year.
listen to this, John. Before they played the Steelers, Derrick Henry was averaging over 110 yards on the ground, and they
Mm-hmm.
held him to only 75. So
Right.
that's a formation or that's crazy. A thing for success in the NFL. If you can hold the other team's best player, and he is their best player.
Yeah. Yes.
Tannehill's good, but Derrick Henry is the driving force of that team, and he really started to turn it on in the fourth quarter, in the third
He didn't
quarter,
count.
really. But listen to this stat, John. The Steelers were 13 for 18 on third down.
It's pretty good.
That's a
13 for
very
18,
good.
really?
Hmm.
Wow. Wow, the offense was on the field for a long time then. Do
Time
you
of
know what
possession
happened?
was 36 and a half to
Really?
23.
Wow. That's a round of applause from me, man. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're getting it done this year.
They are.
Yeah.
They're very good on defense. They're getting off the field. TJ Watt and Bud Dupree are getting home.
I mean, Holes, I think they're exceeding your expectations because you're like last
Oh
week you're
yeah.
like, oh, Henry's gonna be rushing for over 100 yards easily. I
Hmm.
mean, that that defense, man, it's impressive. Uh, I mean, I was watching a video earlier, and I mean, they got Terry Bradshaw reminiscing of the Steel Curtain, of like days of me and Joel Green and Jack Lambert and
It was a dirty defense, and
it
it
was.
honestly is reminding me of some of the plays. I got to see that defense introduced when I went to the Steelers game last year when they played the Raiders or the Rams. Everyone
Right.
from that team that was still alive.
No Blunt.
Mel Blunt was there.
Yeah.
Mean Joe Green, he got the biggest round of applause I've ever
Yeah.
seen. So
The defense is good.
overall, it was a great week. Very proud of the team. Well, let's hop into Jags Chargers. What did you think about this game?
Um, I mean, I don't have much to say. I expected the Chargers to win.
Mhm.
Herbert had a great game. Um, I think he's one of the front runners with, in my opinion, Burrow and
Good.
Justin Jefferson for Rookie of the Year. Um, Keenan Allen had a good game.
You know, and
Uh,
had a monster game.
yeah, it's the Chargers. I mean, they're a young team. They don't look bad. Herbert looks like he could be a really good quarterback for years to come. Um, and they're getting it done without. I mean, they're not. I mean, they are facing the Jags, but they're not playing too bad
I don't know.
without Ekeler. So
I was thinking that Tyrod was going to be the starter for most of the year and Herbert was going to back him up.
I
But the injury was unfortunate and Herbert just played too well to lose that spot.
think Herbert was their leading rusher too.
Yeah, he was. He had like 60 yards or something.
Yeah.
I think he said 60 something. And the defense didn't look great,
Mm.
honestly. Robinson, James Robinson really gashed that that Chargers defense. But other than that, they just look good. They should feel good about that win. Anytime you score 39 points in the National Football League, you got to be ecstatic.
In 5 years, I think Herbert and Mahomes will be the best quarterbacks in that division, and I think both will be giving each other a run for their money, giving each other's defenses a run for their money. So
I think Herbert can be. I think Herbert is play style is like a Big Ben, an Eli. Honestly, some guy that's gonna just chuck it down the field and take chances. I find that. I don't know if it's because he's young, he takes those chances, but I just feel like he reminds me of that kind of player.
I find that attractive in a quarterback too. When they're willing to take that big risk, it shows that they have confidence in their arm, confidence in themselves, confidence in their
Receiver.
offense. I mean, that's what matters.
Hmm. Yep.
But not much to say
Yeah.
about this game.
It was kind of a boring game for me, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Now on to one of the better games of the week. Honestly, probably the best game of the week. Probably second best. I think the Steelers game was the best, but second best game, Seahawks Cardinals. What do you think on this game?
Um. Well, I was right about the upset. Cardinals got the
That
upset.
was a good upset.
I mean, in my opinion, this was the greatest game of the week. It was
Hmm.
very exciting to watch. That overtime thriller. My heart was pounding the whole game. I was hoping Murray and the Cardinals would get it done, and they got it done. And I mean, Murray
Oh,
had a
I feel
monster.
so bad. DK Metcalf had a touchdown for the win.
He did, and then they got called for
Holding.
that holding on
It was clearly holding though, so I'm
that holding call on David Moore.
not gonna lie though. DK
Breaking.
Metcalf kind of cost me my week too.
And I love DK. He's my favorite receiver in the league. He was quiet this
Yeah,
game.
it
Uh,
really screwed me over. He only had
Recept
4 points.
receptions for 23 yards, but he got eclipsed by Tyler Lockett. What do you think about Tyler?
Anytime you
It's
get 20 targets and you get over 15 catches, you're in the conversation with one of the greatest receivers of all time. I think that some of the better ones, or some of the great, I think Brandon Marshall had 20 catches one time when he played for the Broncos. I think.
the greatest game of all time.
Ooh,
I wouldn't say Lockett is in the conversation for greatest receiver of all time after that
no,
game.
greatest game,
Oh,
single game.
yeah, I
He
agree. Three
had
touchdowns,
three
200
touchdowns, 200 yards. He had 20 targets. He had 15 catches. And some of those catches, I'm wondering how is he making them? The one where he tripped and caught it one-handed. How did he
Mm-hmm.
make that catch? And the one in the back of the end zone when he dove down and he slid the right leg or the right foot.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, man. That
He
was
just
insane.
makes some of the most inspirational catches, and a lot of people should model their game and proving that some of the smaller receivers can get it done.
He's like a magician. Yeah, he
I don't know.
really.
Him and Metcalf kind of mirror each other perfectly.
I think they're the best wide receiver duo in the league. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Honestly, it might be.
But
Honestly, I mean, it's either them or Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. One of the two, in my opinion.
I have to go with Lockett and Metcalf. I
Mhm.
just because Godwin and Mike Evans have been hurt this year.
That's true. Godwin's
Yeah.
out another week this week. I thought he was going to gash the Giants. He's having surgery. My
With-
week is going to be terrible.
I hope he has a speedy recovery because I love Chris Godwin too. I think he's a great receiver.
But, okay, what about this, John? DK Metcalf caught Buda Baker.
Oh my yeah. I'm
Oh,
not sure
no.
what speed clocked in at, but I mean
It was 22, wasn't it?
yeah, I think so. the dude's the most athletic, the most. He's just a freak of nature. I mean, I don't think anybody compares to his athleticism in the league. Uh, you saw the guy. You saw the guy's combine. You saw how he played last year.
I
You
do
see.
not know how he didn't go in the first round.
I
He had a
know.
great combine, but people were like, I don't know if it's going to translate. He's fast and he's strong, but I don't know if it's going to translate. And then it's translated great with the Seahawks.
I think he's easily the best receiver in last year's class.
Emmer Jefferson.
In last year's class.
Oh, you're right. He's not a rookie.
That's
I can't even think of anyone else in that class that's even close to him right now.
but the Cardinals, Kenyon Drake got hurt.
Yeah, it's a sad sight to see. You know who got hurt? Chris Carson, another player who's on my fantasy team.
Mhm.
Oh
I like
my
Chris
God.
Carson. I like those power backs in the league, and
Yep.
almost like they're dying out. You know what I mean? You just don't see them as often. It's like, and they have Carlos Hyde too, another power back.
He got hurt too.
Yeah, it's just sad to see because you see those big backs, those big powerful backs, like Jerome Bettis or Brandon Jacobs,
Adrian Peterson,
Adrian Peterson too. Yeah,
Marshawn Lynch,
Marshawn Lynch too.
like
A lot of these backs, I mean, they're getting smaller, they're getting faster and more agile, but
Elair.
that old way of, I guess Elaire's a power back in a
No, I was
way.
saying that Elair was a way of changing the position to a smaller.
He's still a
Uh,
hefty guy. He still has
he
some
has some thud in him, but he's still.
punch, yeah. But I mean, I like Carlos Hyde, and it's unfortunate, or Chris Carson, sorry, and Carlos Hyde. I like them both, but it's unfortunate that they both got hurt, and I just hope that it doesn't hurt the Seahawks.
I don't think it will. I just think
That
the Russ is going to take over again next week.
Yeah, let Russ cook, but he did throw 3 picks.
He opened the
That
door for the NFL MVP, but I think he'll shut it this week.
that pick by Isaiah Simmons at the end of the game, though, that was clutch.
It was a bad toss.
It was a bad toss, but I mean, not many other people, especially at Isaiah Simmons' position, would have gotten that ball. He's just a athletic dude. So,
Yep, you're not wrong there.
but and it was a shootout. This game was a shootout. Both
We
teams
called we called a shootout, but I thought that the Seahawks were going to be on the good end of that shootout.
500 yards for each team, over 500 yards. So pretty crazy. And there's actually one more before we stop talking about this game. There's one stat that I wanted to show you, which unfortunately, or frankly, it blew my mind. I didn't know this, but let's see if I can find it. So Seattle, they had the lead in the game, 56 minutes and 59 seconds out of the game, and Arizona didn't have the lead at all in the game. I mean, they won at the end of the game, obviously, but the game was tied for 12 minutes and 46 seconds of the game. So, the Arizona, they have an explosive team, but they're inconsistent. I mean, like you said, they lost against the Lions or something like that, and I think the Seahawks are the favorite for the NFC West, but Arizona definitely can give them a run for their money.
All right, John, real quick. What do you think about the Bears Rams?
Uh, boring game to
Terrible,
watch.
terrible game.
Yeah,
Defensive battle. Nick
yeah,
Foles looked terrible. He missed an out and up that would have scored them a touchdown. Jalen Ramsey was cooked. Nick Foles threw it out of bounds.
right.
How is that possible?
Man, I don't know. It's Nick Foles. He's just
He's only good when
inconsistent.
he plays Tom Brady.
I guess so. He's he's only good when it comes to the playoffs. I mean,
Honestly, don't you can't even say the playoffs. It was just those two games.
yeah,
NFC
yeah.
Championship, Super Bowl. The other games he should have lost to the Falcons almost. They made that run.
That game was just really boring to watch. I
Yeah,
mean,
defense took over.
I just the Bears defense. They, I mean, they just couldn't get off the field because they were gassed.
I
Uh,
think.
yeah,
John, listen to this stat. I think Aaron Donald was doubled 10 times or a bunch of times, and he broke through 5 times through double
oh,
teams. That's insane.
that is insane.
How do you do that? He's just a beast.
It's Aaron Donald, man.
Aaron Donald's insane.
Did he end up sacking Nick Foles?
He got a half sack.
Well, because I know that before that he hadn't sacked Nick Foles in his career, so he was motivated to sack him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really counts though. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I watched that game last night with my girlfriend's dad, and it was boring.
It's not a
And
great game.
I mean, not much. He was doing DraftKings, and I mean, not much fantasy wise from that game.
Yep.
I mean, Jared Goff had over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I mean that's okay.
Hmm.
Darrell Henderson didn't do. I mean, he did
Honestly, he
okay.
did pretty good against that front. He had 60 yards rushing, and that's not bad against that Cleo Max and all of the world.
He was
They have
rushing.
us. The
He was.
Bears have a great defense.
They do.
They played well enough to keep him in that game. It was Nick Foles that really took him out of the game in that offense.
How did Cleo play? You know,
Khalil Mack. I could just look up his stats really quick.
I think Cleo had a sack. I think he didn't have a bad.
Probably, honestly, Khalil Mack. He had 4 solo, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. So they played good enough to win the game on defense.
So so I'm just curious. Who do you think is what's your playoff picture for the NFC?
Oh, you put me on the spot here. I
Um,
think the Eagles or the football team are going to come out of the NFC the NFC least, as you like to call it.
yeah.
I think I don't know exactly the seedings. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything too rash now, but I think the NFC Championship is going to be Packers, Bucks. I
I
think
agree.
that's going to be the NFC Championship. And one of these next coming weeks, we could do our playoff predictions. But I just think that's going to be one of the best matchups. I think Aaron Rodgers didn't bring his best stuff the first time. He's going to bring it the second time, for sure, if they meet in the playoffs.
Yeah. Um, I just the AFC just the AFC always looks better than the NFC. You know what I mean? Like you have the Bucks and the
Closer,
Packers.
closer.
I mean, outside of that, I mean, outside of those two teams in the NFC, it's kind of hard to tell. In the AFC, you have the Chiefs, you have the Steelers, you have the Titans.
Don't
Um,
even say the Bills. Fake good team.
you can even say the Bills. I mean,
Raiders, maybe.
oh yeah, you could even say the Raiders, and who knows, the Dolphins could even sneak in there. But
It'll be tough. Sure.
yeah, yeah, it's hard to
Colts,
tell.
maybe. They're pretty good.
Colts aren't playing that bad, but
Ravens.
the Ravens, I don't know. I feel like the Ravens are. I mean, the Ravens are good. They have a good defense, but that offense isn't living up to expectations.
We'll
I
see.
feel like they're a little overhyped.
All right,
Lamar,
John. Before we get into this too bad, I think that we should end the show
all right.
with our Thursday night game
There's the night.
predictions. So it's Panthers, Falcons. What are you thinking and what are you thinking for a score?
Hmm. I have the Panthers coming out on top. I think the Falcons will keep it close, but I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to throw for close to 300 yards. I think Robbie Anderson is going to have a good game receiving. I even think Mike Davis will do well on the ground. I'm going to say Panthers. I'm going to say Panthers 24, Falcons 17.
I was similar. I think that Mike Davis is going to have a bounce back week after 2 weeks in a row of not playing well. They're going to run the football. They're going to be great on offense. They're going to score. I think that the Falcons are going to keep it close. I think Julio is going to have 2 touchdowns,
Mhm. Okay.
and I think maybe him and Ridley split one. They go one each, but I think that Julio could have 2. And I think it's going to be a shootout because Atlanta offense is definitely good enough for it. I think it's going to be 27-24 Panthers.
Okay. We both agree on the Panthers there, though.
Hmm. Could be an upset. I think the Panthers are 2.5 point favorites.
Okay. All right. Do you know when CMC comes back exactly? Isn't it
I think
within like?
after this week, I think they might clear him to play, but I'm not exactly sure about that.
All right.
All right, John, it's
Well,
been a great episode.
yeah, man.
Been fun talking with you.
Yes,
Any
sir.
closing remarks?
All I gotta say is get ready for the episode Saturday, guys. And like we said before, get ready for more content to come. And it only gets better from here, guys. So stay tuned.
Hmm. And with that said, if you do happen to be new, don't forget to drop a sub and turn on the notifications. We are on our road to 50 subscribers. We had a great first week.
Yeah.
We just got to keep up our grind. We got to keep going. We're going to hope to be at 50 to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So with that said, John, it's been a great podcast working with you today, buddy. We'll see you
Yes.
later.
Look forward to talking more football with you.
Oh yeah.
John Hose out.